because back then, was it still very separate? Like now I feel like there is more of a flow to LGBTQ plus, like, and that it's not the same, obviously, but how am I trying to say this? Where it seems like today, would you still feel like you had to worry about that?
It's generational. It's generational. And this is what is making me so emotional today talking about this. Is because I'll start with the younger generations. They're less likely to say lesbian and gay, and they're much more likely to say bisexual and pan and queer. Like the younger generations are refusing to stay in these binary buckets. People of our generation and older, and maybe slightly younger, are still finding it hard to adopt the term bisexual. So going back to that statistics, the Gallup poll, that 56.8% of lesbian, gay, and bi people say that they're bisexual, but that's when they don't have to disclose it. Like it's a confidential study. I have a dear friend of mine who she's just turned 50, early 50s. And for the last 3 years or so, she's come to identify as bisexual for the first time in her life. And prior to this, she has been only married, I think she had 2 marriages, to straight cisgender men. And so she's never come out. She hasn't yet had a relationship with a woman, but she just knows very firmly that she's bisexual. And I'll say this to you and the audience as well. You don't have to act on anything in order to prove it. So you could be bisexual and only ever had a sexual and or romantic relationship with somebody of one gender. You don't have to have had relationships or experiences with people of more than one gender in order to prove that you're bisexual. But her experience as newly entering out into the world as a bi woman, that we have a circle of friends who are queer women, most of whom I think are out as lesbian or gay, but I know that there are several who are bi but won't use that word and won't be out. And there is a systemic stigma that still exists against bi people. And using this female group as an example, like she's having the hardest time just hearing like the snide little undertones and comments and like having to hide her previous marriages. But she loved those men and she still is open to loving men, but she's open to loving women or people of any other gender as well. And it's so hard because that stigma results in poorer mental health disparities against the bi plus community. In fact, I'm one of a small group of us that went to the White House last September during Celebrate Bisexuality Week and Day to go educate White House and HHS administration on the poor health disparities against the bi plus community, because we have like poorer instances of depression, anxiety, suicidality. We have poorer health behaviors like smoking and poorer diet, like, and all these things, they just stack up and up and up. And it's because that you have kind of like a double closet where within the queer community, gay and lesbian people don't really acknowledge bisexuality. Many lesbians will say, I will not date a bisexual woman because she's just going to leave me for a man anyway, which is completely ridiculous and doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But sorry, love you lesbians. And then, you know, you'll hear things like, when I was dating a cisgender guy, you know, a gay friend of mine is like, oh, Fiona, have you gone straight now? I'm like, no, I haven't. I'm not straight. So when you're always labeled depending on who you're seen with and not who you are. And that psychologically impacts you mentally if you're not seen as who you are. And that's something I think that, you know, many people can relate to when people don't see you as you are, it affects your mental health.
Yeah, it's so true. And not for me as opposed to like gender and things like that. But I was always so depressed and had so much anxiety my whole life.
Yeah.
And then I pretended that I was smiling and I was happy. And after my divorce 7 years ago, you know, I had friends saying, oh, you're going to be fine. And I knew I wasn't fine.
Yeah.
And those parts of me were finally coming out and I hated it because I had controlled them for so long.
Yeah.
I've hidden them.
Yeah.
And I hated it when they came out because I thought, well, now people are going to see me and they're going to know I'm this depressed person. And I have all this anxiety. I'm this anxious person. And it was the best thing.
Yeah.
It's very freeing.
And like to be seen as who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in that queer environment, like I find I'm hanging on to a level of anxiety, knowing that these people around me don't really like someone who's bisexual. And like, they just think you're indecisive, that you're greedy, that you're promiscuous. And any of those things are okay. It's okay to be greedy and promiscuous. Nothing wrong in that whatsoever. But there's a level that goes deeper than that, where it's like a cut. It's like microaggressions, right? The best analogy of a microaggression is like a mosquito bite, where if you get one mosquito bite, it irritates a bit, but you get used to it, goes away. But you get 2 or 3, they build up. Imagine like you get bitten all over by mosquitoes and how painful that is. Like that can be what it's like being a bi person in a queer environment.
Yeah, well, that's where I feel like so much of the mental health issues are coming in, because you are in pain. And, the Surgeon General said that loneliness is the new epidemic. And and that's such a lonely feeling when you're living in this world of not being able to fully express yourself and who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that, it just goes back to really, people just accepting people for who they are and not trying to control what you think they need to be.
Yeah.
That's not our job.
Yeah.
It's our job to take care of our own selves, be kind, loving people to the world, and however you want to live your life, and let others live their life too.
Yeah. Yeah. It comes, I think people are afraid of themselves. And I think that when they're, like, say, rejecting bi people, it's because we might present something that triggers something inside of them, some level of fear and insecurity and, and so on and so forth. And
And I think you just nailed it. Like when we get triggered by people, that's whenever fear sets in, and we are, it's our own things that we're having to deal with.
I think in some ways that's why, there's such a backlash against trans people in some ways. It's because trans people are expressing an authentic self that other people may not have gone to the depths to discover in themselves. And they're afraid of authenticity. They're afraid of breaking the binary, as it were. They're afraid of like not fitting into a societal mold. And I think that a lot of it just is internalized fear. That's where transphobia comes from, where biphobia comes from, and all of that. And I think finding a way to help everybody just feel safe and secure in themselves so that they're less reactive to somebody that doesn't fit their expectation of what a person is meant to be. I think that's
and
something
we also don't
on.
have to be around people who don't treat us kindly.
No.
That's something that I learned because I wanted to, I was such a people pleaser for a long time. Like I wanted everyone to like me, even if they treated me like shit. Excuse my language. I don't normally cuss on here, but I would let people treat me like that.
Yeah.
And as I've, started healing and been on my healing journey and learning more about myself and caring about me first.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I do not have to let these people in my life that have treated me in a way that doesn't feel good for me. Because once again, it's keeping that separate and really and surrounding myself with people who want to be genuine, who care, who want to be there.
Yeah.
And that's other people can go and they can live their lives how they want and align with people who they want to align with, and we can align with people that fit with us.
It's so important to have healthy boundaries.
It really is.
Mm-hmm. And I try to avoid carrying any hate or I guess I'll stick on the word hate. Like I try to avoid carrying negative emotion towards other people because the only person that's going to hurt is me. And so I can separate myself and put up a healthy boundary and then just send out love. Like meditation.
Yes.
Meditation is also the savior of the world.
That's right.
Just love everybody. Even though those people have hurt you, you can put a boundary, don't have anything, and just send them love.
It's so true. And even in times when it's hard, I wrote on my daughter's hands yesterday, love and light. And then she said, Mom, will you write it in a different color today? And so I wrote love and light because she was having a lot of fear. Hers was around testing. Okay.
Yeah.
But there are times when we have fear around other things. And if we can just remember love and light and to let all the rest of it go, because the only thing it's doing when we're hating others is it's hurting us because then you're the one that's ruminating on it. They're not.
Exactly.
Like you hate that person or you want to tell them off. You're just sitting there ruminating on it. They're just going and living their life.
Exactly.
So if you just come with love and light, let that go.
Because you have to, that's where my mindfulness comes in as well, and meditation, because being able to take time just to sit and observe your thoughts and observe your mind. And then you realize that your mind is just making up the story. It's your mind making up the story. There's no evidence to say that that story is true. Mm-hmm. And you can choose to like let go of that story and then just focus on your breath. And then another story will pop up. You're like, oh, hello, mind. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're coming up with this thought and da-da-da. And then just let it go, because it's just all mind chatter. It's not necessarily true.
Right.
It's like, I've been trying to put this technique into getting over a relationship of this person that is not the person I wish they would be, and I have to let it go because they're never going to be that person. And you know, and then the fear of like the pain of the rejection because that person doesn't want me, and what's, you know, why don't they want me, why do they want those other people, like, you know, and realizing that's just my mind making up a story. And it's funny you say love and light, because I have a few tattoos, but this one says amare, which is Latin for love. And so now I like pay attention. On my mind is feeling this pain and rejection because this person doesn't want me. I'm going to observe that thought, let it go, and then touch my amare and go, love.
Yes.
Love. I have love for myself. I am lovable. I give them love. Okay, and then get on with the day.
Exactly.
And it's like noticing it.
One thing I try to do too is I'll imagine that I'm driving from San Antonio to Austin, right?
Yeah.
And I love being in Austin. And nothing wrong with San Antonio, but you know, I grew up in Houston, and you know, think about the rear view mirror, right?
Yeah.
And everything in the rear view mirror is our past, and it's these fears, and it's these things that have happened. And instead of letting them stop the car and get to where you want to go, like keep going, keep looking at, you know, like I think of the city, like when you're driving into Austin, I just think it looks so beautiful. The design work and everything is just stunning. Yeah. And thinking about that, you know, the energy of moving forward, the energy of getting to wherever you want to go.
Yeah. And I also layer to that in the recognizing that you're in the now, and that the only thing we have is the now and the present. That your past and your anxiety and depression from the past is basically the stories your mind is making up about the past. And then your anxiety about the future is basically your mind making up the stories about the future. But in fact, every single moment, all we have is like the now, which is why like Freeline Productions makes 6 branded contents of Now with Fiona. And it was inspired by Eckhart Tolle, you know, the power of now. And I think that also kind of helps relieve anxiety and depression, and realize everything is okay right now. I'm just like breathing and everything's okay right now.
And that's where the meditation comes in.
Correct.
I'm very diligent about my meditations now. Yeah. And I love Eckhart Tolle. I think there is something, you know, so just very clearing in your soul whenever you can be in the now.
Yeah.
And it's also like I had to understand, but how do I start to envision a different future for me, right?
Yeah.
Because the now was working, but I also was like now and past.
Yeah.
And so that's where I had to start learning, like, wait, I want to create something different for myself.
Yeah.
You know?
So do you have a visualization board, and like, do you manifest everything?
I don't have a visualization board. I mean, I think I made one a while back.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really work for me. Like I have to really embody it.
Yeah.
You know, I have written down like things that I want for my future and how I want it to look, but I more have to like sit and meditate on it and envision it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, vision boards work for people, and that's great too.
But it sounds like you've got a vision board in your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is very similar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of meditation, you know, what you meditate, what are other things that you do to take care of yourself, to take care of your mental health, and just anything you can provide our viewers with?
So there was a book that just kind of put me on such a great path with all of this, because prior to the spring of 2019, I think it was like March 2019, I would do okay with taking care of myself, but I think I was in a bit denial that I wasn't great at it. And then a friend introduced me to a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Highly recommend this book. Hal Elrod, please can I be on your podcast one day? That would be amazing. Please, 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 please. So he wrote The Miracle Morning, and he has the acronym called the SAVERS. So it's S for silence, A for affirmation, V for visualization, E for exercise, R for writing, S for scribing. Okay, 6 things.
Okay, good.
Scribing, journaling. And I kick-started it and was so diligent. You do all 6 of those things in the morning before you start work. Today, I feel like that's part of my work. Like, I don't separate work and play. Like, taking care of my mental health and looking after me first is part of my job on this planet.
Absolutely.
And so that's what kicked me into like this silent meditation, and then writing my affirmations, visualizing, and I've kind of keyed it to a song. Now I've got 2 songs. This is me in The Greatest Showman, and then Defying Gravity, Wicked. And I have my whole routine where I flip through my affirmations, and then I go into a visualization, and I visualize the things that I'm looking to manifest happening, and then exercise, and that might be running or yoga, and then reading, and that might be listening to an audiobook while I'm running, and then journaling. Today I don't do all 6 every single morning, but I'll do a combination of those for at least like nearly 2 hours every morning. Like sometimes it might be an hour yoga class and whatever else. So that is an extremely important part of my day. Yeah. And then I cleanse, tone, and moisturize my face morning and night.
Okay, love that.
So
same.
I don't use any Botox or fillers or anything like that. I want to try and go through my entire life never using anything like that, because I want to embrace my wrinkles. I want to embrace my age, but I will cleanse, tone, and moisturize, like, to keep my skin healthy. Yeah. And then I guess that's kind of about it, really. But I don't want to sound like a goody two-shoes, as my mother would have said, because I also eat ramen noodles occasionally.
I love ramen noodles, like the orange package,
so
heavily processed.
Yeah. You see, I don't eat meat, so what I do is I'll buy like any flavor, because I'll throw the flavor packet away, and then I'll use like a vegan bouillon like thing. So I'll cook it in a vegan bouillon. But that's
I'll have to try that, because I have the vegan bouillon.
And mix it with a raw egg, so you kind of make it carbonara. Oh, that's my favorite.
Okay, I'm adopting that recipe.
I probably drink a bit more wine and stuff than I should, but I'm like, so I'm not like completely
right.
over.
It's balance. But here's the thing: is when you're in your optimal health, right? You don't stop working out. Right. You keep working out so you can run longer, you can lift more weights. Right. And that's the same thing with our mental health. It has a daily practice. Yeah. And then enjoying life, whatever that is, if it's ramen noodles or wine or whatever, that's part of enjoying life. It's a lifestyle. And I feel like that is hand in hand. Yeah. You want to be able to have these routines. I have most of them as well too, but just like you, like some days all of them work, some days 2 of them work. Yeah. And, it's just, I am also very easy on myself if, it's like I had to wake up late because I woke up at 3 a.m. and I couldn't go back to sleep and I have to get the kids to school. Like, hey, I had to sleep in later. Right. And that's important. Right. That's I'm with you on that too. Like, I have a better attitude about the importance of sleep. I try to get up early, but if I need more sleep, then I'm going to sleep. Right. I'm not going to feel guilty about it. And another thing that is hugely beneficial to my mental health is not being on social media. And yes, I have a Facebook account, I've got an Instagram, I've got my LinkedIn, and I'm trying to do a bit more LinkedIn because it's good for work. But typically my phone is on do not disturb most of the day. So I don't get notifications. I get to choose when I read a text. I get to choose when I want to go onto social media. Like, I give myself the power. And even like email, like, I don't want to wake up at like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and see an email from work pop in and then find my mind has gone on this chatter and of anxiety. So in fact, I haven't looked at my email yet this morning, which might be a bad thing, but you know what? At the end of the day, there's any crisis going on, someone will have found me. Well, yeah. And there was an article in the New York Times about, as a society right now, more so along with emails, but I think you can apply that to text and social media, where it says, that we as a society nowadays feel like we have to answer that person immediately, and especially women. Right. And then we apologize that we didn't get back to them within like 3 hours. Right. Yeah. And instead of saying, No.
Yeah.
That's okay. And you get back to them when you can.
I'll apologize if I left it 2 weeks because I didn't mean to and that was rude. Sorry.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you. Like trying to monitor how much I apologize for things that don't need apologizing for. And like just, yes. I mean, it's part of setting those boundaries, isn't it? Right?
Yeah. Setting boundaries with your phone, with people.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And there's been so many times when people have said, you need to do more social media because, you're working on a TV show and you're working on this and working on that. And if you're not on social media saying stuff, then you're not going to get there. And I absolutely flat out refuse to believe that. Mm-hmm. Like my stuff is going to be successful because I'm authentic and I'm me. Mm-hmm. And part of that is not being obsessed on social media.
We so align with that.
So there you go.
It has taken me so long to even to adapt to social media. And because I care about mental health, I had to put myself aside and start putting myself out there more.
Yeah.
Because one, it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about others, helping others. And so if I have to put myself out there more, I do. But I'm like, we don't get as many followers because I don't interact with people, and I don't even have time, and I don't even know how people have time.
I know, and like I'll do the bare minimum. Like I'm not gonna, But the other thing as well, why I want to stand by it, going back to mental health, is that I don't want to be contributing to the detriment of other people's mental health.
I know.
And some will argue and say, but you're putting out good stuff, like. Mm-hmm. But let me put the good stuff on a healthy place where they can get it. Yeah. Don't let me put the good stuff in the middle of the candy. Let me put the good stuff where the good stuff belongs and bring them to the good stuff. I don't want.
Is that like your website?
I guess.
Okay.
Where is it?
Lead us the way.
It's probably. Well, I mean, I was joking apart. YouTube is still a social media platform, but like it would probably be YouTube. But it's like, it's my website, and also the content that we're creating currently is very internalized at companies. So it's like we're creating the content, but we're not distributing the content.
I like it. Okay.
Eventually. My docs are on, wherever you can watch a documentary. Mm-hmm. And eventually, like this unscripted show, who knows what platform it's going to be on? Mm-hmm. It's going to be on some platform. Mm-hmm. But and then someone else will be paid to manage the social media.
Yeah, I know.
And they can point the camera at me, like I'll go, hey, I'll do what I'm told, but I just don't want to have to be responsible for it.
I know. So, I mean, that's what I do. I pay somebody to do it.
Right.
Yeah, because I just... Yeah. And it takes me so long. I mean, it really does. In the beginning, it took me 3 hours just to post one thing. I mean, now it takes me about 45 minutes.
I wonder if it's our age too. I don't know. Like I would think, because my phone is like larger. And like, why the hell does it take? How do they do it? I'm like, all I wanted to do was post a picture and share it on 2 different platforms. And then you're like trying to find the music to match, and that's not right, and that's right. It's like, oh my god,
I know.
Awful.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I think it is an age thing.
I think it is.
Oh my gosh, Fiona.
Middle-aged and proud of it.
It really is. I feel like, I think because with age there comes more wisdom.
One would hope.
We hope. At least in my case, I feel like I'm a little bit wiser than I was even 2 years ago. And so that excites me. I'm like, okay.
We just haven't imagined how wise we're going to be in 20 years, right?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's just been really wonderful having you on here, Fiona.
Thank you so much.
You're such a pleasure. You're so much fun. You've really provided us, I think, with so much information that's so important for people to know. When we release this, it will be during Pride Month.
Yeah.
So where can we find you during Pride Month? Are there specific things that we can tell our audience of how to understand more and learn more about that?
Well, during Pride Month, I'm actually going to be speaking in Washington, D.C. at the MLK Library. And it's a book event. And again, I'm going to flash the book because I feel like it sounds like you think your audience would love to know answers to very direct questions. And this is the book for that. Like, if you want to know anything about being LGBTQ+, this is like a bare bones binary explainer of it all. So this you can find wherever books are sold. But I'm going to be at the MLK Library on June the 14th in Washington, D.C. And they're giving away books as well, and signed copies and that kind of stuff. So that's great. And then I'm going to be doing a number of different keynotes for different corporations. Like, so I've been hired as their Pride speaker. So that's going to be a whole mixture of different virtual and in-person events, but all of those are internal to companies. So if there's anyone watching and your company needs a speaker for Pride still, I probably might have some slots left. But if not, then September is Bisexual Awareness Week and Celebrate Bisexuality Day. And so September is also a great time for speaking opportunities. Or like October is National Coming Out Day. And in fact, throughout the calendar year, you can find any LGBTQ celebration day. So if there's anyone that would like a speaker and or a book event, please contact me. I would love to do that. And we'll share each other's podcasts, right? 100%. Mine's Now with Fiona. You can find that. And then, I will reply to messages.
Yeah. If somebody needs something, absolutely. We're the same. Like, if we see somebody on there that needs help or, wants more information, 100% I'm with you on that.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say, please also follow Equality Texas. We've been doing animation to help people understand the attacks against the LGBTQ+ community. We've got several animations that came out with Equality Texas, and one of them is on puberty blockers and teaching that puberty blockers are proven to be safe, have been used for even cisgender kids as well since the 1970s. And so there's a whole stigma and lack of knowledge around puberty blockers. So if anything, please watch and support Equality Texas. They're doing really great work here.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Namaste. Namaste, y'all.
Oh my gosh, what a pleasure it was to have Fiona on with us. I hope that you are able to learn as much as I've learned today. And once again, look up all the sites that she recommended, and it's about coming from kindness, y'all, because we are healthier together. Please check us out on all the socials, YouTube, Instagram, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.